everybody, we're back. It's Sophie and Marco dish out on the movies. Today we're talking vampires. And not the usual suspects either, like Christopher Lee or Bela Lugosi. The first vampire we're reviewing is a Hammer production called Vampire Lovers, made in 1970. It starred Peter Cushing as General von Spielsdorf, Ingrid Pitt as Marcilla, Pippa Steele as Laura, George Cole as Roger Morton, and Madeline Smith as Emma. Does Peter Cushing play a vampire? No. He plays the uncle of the second victim, Laura. In fact, I think it'd be the third victim. Anyway, it is late 18th century in a duchy in Austria. Baron Hartog is waiting patiently for a vampire from the famous Karnstein family to appear to avenge his daughter's death. He is either going to cut off her head or stake her through the heart. She appears and heads off, which is weird, to the village where a man has just left the pub. Next thing you hear is a scream from him.
Ah!
And the people in the pub open the door and he falls dead inside, which was weird because it usually takes several visits before someone dies from a vampire. Meanwhile, while the vampire was out getting her blood, the Baron took her shroud. He emphasized that these vampires can't rest until they get their shrouds, so he hides with it. When she appears looking for the shroud, he chops off her head with the sword. Next thing, we're at a beautiful party in a castle. It's Laura's birthday, and two women enter the room. It's the Countess Karnstein and her daughter Marcilla. After mingling a bit, a man in black steps up and motions to the Countess. Then he leaves. She tells the General, Peter Cushing, that something terrible has happened and she has to leave. Could Marcilla stay with them until she gets back? The General agrees, and Marcilla is the lead vampiress of the movie, preying on Laura every night, while the man in black, Marcilla's father, sits atop his corpse, watching from afar. Okay, Marco, what would you like to say about the movie? You're the one who told me about the movie. I'd never actually heard of it. So.
Well, it's a movie with vampires and yeah. It's a lot. I was surprised because it was a lot better than any of the Christopher Lee Dracula movies, because it takes itself very seriously. And whereas I think with the Dracula movies, it's almost like there's a formula of he's kind of like a cartoon character where you know that he's gonna get killed at the end, and you know he's gonna come back at the beginning, and you know that there's gonna be a group of people, and some of them get killed off, and some of them have relationship troubles, and some of them are just there, and that's not really what happens in this movie. In this movie, it's completely different, because the main character that we stay with the whole movie is the main bad guy.
I'm talking
bad
about
girl.
Marcilla.
Yeah.
Right, which is unusual. Completely different from, I think, any other vampire movie I've ever seen.
And she's a lesbian.
Actually, for the most of the movie, it's her and these two young girls, Laura and Emma, and then a countess, and then who's that woman? Well, another woman and who's at the second victim's house. But it's mainly just Marcella is the main character. Peter Cushing is not
and he
on
didn't
that long.
he didn't speak much, but she does.
Yes.
And I think that's another advantage that she has, because I hear these stories all the time about Christopher Lee, how he didn't want to be Dracula, wah wah wah, and the script wasn't good, wah wah wah. And this girl just took the script, what she got, and read the effing lines, and look what happened. The movie's fantastic. It has quite a bit of nudity, but when I first watched it, I didn't really care about the nudity at all. I mean, that wasn't the focus. The focus was the story. And it was also pretty scary. The scary part was that guy, the count,
talking about the father
who never even speaks.
Yeah,
he just walks into a room and the whole room goes silent, and he has the pale, completely white makeup on his face, and he just stares, and then he smiles with his fangs, and he's always like watching, and then I love at the end, he's watching, and then he laughs maniacally, and that was cool too. And so
even on the if you look up the movie and you look at the cast, they don't even have the name for him. They just have the man in black. So, well, the nudity didn't bother me either. It's
yeah, it did.
Actually, it didn't.
Yeah, it did, especially that.
Actually, it didn't.
That bath scene.
But
where she's
that's
like,
different either. You don't see Christopher Lee or Bela Lugosi take all their clothes off.
well, there was a scene in Prince of Darkness where Christopher Lee opens his entire shirt and then cuts his chest and makes her drink his blood.
Ugh.
And that was because that's like a sexual thing vampires do. And
that actually makes no sense.
what?
How can Christopher Lee, who's the vampire, have any blood when he has to drink it? And then, he doesn't.
Vampires still have blood.
Oh.
That's been proven.
Oh, okay.
Especially Taste the Blood of Dracula, where they make his blood into powder. Okay, we're talking about the vampire lovers.
Yeah,
okay.
And this is just,
and
we have to say, it's just completely different, I believe, from other vampire movies. And
yeah.
It's not because the person's gay, and I hate to even talk about that, but it's just different.
Well,
it's different, sorry, but it is. It usually is a man. The man's a vampire, and he goes after these older, attractive women, and they're wearing beautiful nightgowns, and they have long, curly hair, and they expose their necks to him, and
And this time,
it's always like that.
This time she exposes more than her neck.
She takes off all her clothes.
It's just, I think that there are two angles to the movie, of which who made it might have thought. Number one is, ooh, we could have these girls take off their clothes and it'll be really hot, and this will sell a lot because people like boobs and people like nudity. But then
I don't think you don't get that feeling though when you watch it, like it's something.
Well, I just hope not.
Well, I don't get that.
Because I think of it as serious. Think of it as she's a predator who instead of Dracula, she's very quick to kill you if you do something wrong. And
well, another point we have to bring out, and I'm just not sure, I guess maybe you could verify it. It sounded like they were talking that this Baron might have said it, somebody said it, that they're like, these vampires are like shapeshifters. I thought you said something too, that when they take that shroud off, they can be anything they want you to see. And so when those girls get
All vampires are shapeshifters.
well, I mean,
in the
but
books.
you hear them, they shape into a bat, or they shape back into their vampire person self. But in this movie, both of the young girls that Marcilla preys on, they said something about a cat, a big cat. So I'm wondering, she changed did she really change into a cat?
That'd be really weird to see.
And I don't think they showed that exactly either in the movie.
It would be really weird to see like a 5'6" cat like climb on top of her and drink her blood.
Well, both girls said a cat. They would wake up.
I think that's just her eyes and her personality.
I don't know. They would both wake up after she preyed on them during the night.
Spoilers. We can't.
Well, I'll just say they would wake up and say they'd scream and they'd go, "Oh my God, this cat just was sitting on me." Both of them. But you never see a cat. You see some kind of weird, fuzzy thing with weird eyes, and so I don't know. You want to say anything else?
What else is there to say? What else is there? Okay, who in this movie did a great job at acting and who didn't? Because there's a clear line that's crossed multiple times by. Give me the who was good and who was terrible.
I don't know. Let's see, there was the Count at the beginning, but he really has a very tiny part. There's the vampiress. She had a humongous part.
The butler.
There's the butler.
Did you like the butler?
I thought he was okay. He's the one. He was played in the second family that she visited, Marcilla visited and stayed with. He was actually. He helped the second victim.
We can't talk about that. It's not spoilers yet.
Well, he had a pretty big part when he was on the screen, and he did pretty well. Peter Cushing, I don't know. He really didn't have that big a part. He was there. The Countess came in and she talked to him, said, "I've got to leave," and he had not hardly any lines to say in that part of the movie.
That's very important towards a part of the movie, and I won't get into that yet.
Okay, and the other people that had the most part were
the boyfriend. Did you like the generic boyfriend?
Amazingly enough, I could not find him in the cast list that I just looked at. I guess I'd have to look again. I can't imagine. I mean, if the man in black is there, who never said a word aloud, you would think he'd be there. But he looked familiar, but he actually didn't. He just was very one-dimensional.
He was terrible. I hate these older movies where you have like the generic boyfriend or the generic love interest, and they're just there.
Yeah, he's very one-dimensional.
And it's like, why are we rooting for this guy just because he's her quote boyfriend? Like, I'm not rooting for him. He's a generic kind of loser.
Well, he did help. He tried to help the first victim, and I can't say anything else, but he was trying to be helpful. But as far as his acting and what he did, he was pretty one-dimensional. He just didn't show much emotion. So, and then you had the doctor, and his real name is Ferdy, which I think is interesting.
And what did he do?
He just galloped in,
and left.
he was kind of actually sexist.
Takes all their money.
Yeah, and he did come when they wanted him to come, and he actually got killed, right? Didn't he get killed?
Oh, we can't say that yet. It's not spoilers.
Well, it's okay. He's not a very big character, but
he's the doctor.
He's a very interesting character as far as like you got to wonder what else he played in his career because his name is Ferdy Main. So let's see, and the other people who played the most parts were the two young girls.
Yeah, what did you think about them? Did you like them? Do you think that?
Well, the first girl, she reminded me.
They showed a little bit too much cleavage.
Oh yeah, they showed their boobs. The first girl, she reminded me of somebody from what was that vampire show that we watched, that I watched? Huh?
I don't know.
You know, with
let's move on.
Okay, well, she reminded me of a character from there. I don't know if she was ever in there, but she kind of reminded me of somebody from there. The second girl, I thought she acted better. She seemed a lot younger. She seemed like really a young girl.
I hope she wasn't too young.
Well, both girls seemed younger than the vampires. And technically, the vampires...
Well, who knows how old she is?
Well, I saw her gravestone, and she was...
The vampire. It's not her. The vampire.
Yes, but they showed her gravestone. It was back in the 1500s.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the actress.
No, but as far as...
Okay, 1500s, so...
So technically, she's a lot older, but I think she's older in the movie. I mean, as an actress, she's a lot older. But I could be wrong.
Well, she escaped the Holocaust, so she's probably a little older, and I think she's the best actor of the movie. But I think that the butler is second, and the Count. The Count is the best actor in the movie because he's perfect and he's scary, and we never get to know anything about him. And I guess we know about him in the sequels, but it's a different actor, and I don't like that.
That's too bad.
I mean, they replaced the actor in the second one, and then in the third one they replaced him again. Like, I don't want to see this. I want to see the same actor bring the same performance of the silent, just sitting there staring. Okay, so we should rate it now.
Okay, well, I just put it was a fair movie. Not bad. I liked it just because it was different from other vampire movies, and that it featured a woman vampire, and she seemed to like women. I mean, that was just what it was. And I gave it a fish sandwich from McDonald's. It's okay. It's just good enough for me to eat once a week. So, which means, you know, I would watch it again.
No, you wouldn't.
Just because it's, well, I did actually. I watched it twice to try to get the details.
I don't think
so I could write out a review, but...
Don't lie.
Anyway, what do you rate it?
I rate this movie 16 pancakes with chocolate syrup and whipped cream and maple syrup.
That's disgusting. How could you rate it that? Are you serious?
And sparkling grape juice.
That sounds like a sugar overdose.
Because...
That can't be right. Why would you rate a vampire movie with a sugar overdose?
Because...
That would be like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or something.
No, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, just so we can get this straight, because we're never gonna review that awful remake. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I would give that movie a chocolate bar that's been already eaten.
That is disgusting. I have no idea. I think he must be getting my sickness.
Inside of a dead body that.
Oh, Marco! Gross!
That's what Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is. I can't help. That movie's so bad. We're never gonna review that.
I like the movie. I don't know what he's talking about.
Not Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Willy Wonka, I would give all the candy in the world, plus more candy. And so I gave it this rating because there's a lot of kills in it, which explains like the syrups and the sparkling grape juice, and I don't know. It puts me in it's a sweet movie. It really is.
I think he's delusional.
It's a sweet vampire movie. It makes you feel like you're watching something so much different than the normal Dracula movie that you'd watch on a Saturday. It's really different, and it really makes you full and it makes you feel like the rest of the day is gonna be really sunny.
I think he's lost his marbles.
After having pancakes, 16 pancakes.
Could you even eat 16 pancakes?
No.
I can only eat one, maybe.
And that's the point. It's a bountiful movie. And you gave the movie a fish fillet, and that's an insult to the movie.
No, I'm not insulting the movie. I like fish fillets. It's the only thing I like to eat at McDonald's. So
nobody
that's got to say something.
McDonald's sucks.
Well, today I only ate half of it. I didn't like it that much, but it hits the spot for me. I like it. So the movie is I like it when people do different things instead of the same old, and it has story. Two families, and some of the story was missing. Like, we have no idea about this Karnstein. We don't know the background of anybody. I'm trying to think, is there any vampire we ever hear the background? Like, how did they get to be a vampire?
Oh, we never get to hear that.
It seems like we never get to hear that.
And that's what's even cooler, because they're already there. They're already alive, and they're blending in with society, and nobody even knows besides this Baron. And so it's kind of like it's like a one-man war against the family from that Baron guy. And it's good that Peter Cushing got involved, because you need Peter Cushing's help for a war against them.
Let's go to the spoilers.
Okay, spoilers!
Peter Cushing, after what happens is Marcella finally got the best of poor Laura, and everybody's all sad, and they're wondering, does Marcella have something to do with this? And the daughter's dead. The doctor, the boyfriend, Carl, we don't even hardly mention him. Like I said, I didn't even see his name on the cast list, which is odd. But he goes and gets the doctor. They come. Well, Laura's dead. And then they're all looking for Marcella. Well, she's disappeared. And then all of a sudden, in the woods, you see Marcella is in a carriage with the Countess, and they're riding along. And Emma and her father, they're riding along too, and the Countess, somehow they stopped their carriage, and the Countess has got to go because something has happened in their family, Can Marcilla, and I think she calls her a different name for each family. She's a different name.
Yeah, she does.
And she says, "Can she stay with you?" "Oh yeah, sure. Come on over." So and here we go again. It's the same old story. But this second family, there's some few things. They have this butler we were talking about. He's a humongous part, and he actually steps in and he, through some of the things he does, and with the help of that, I don't know whose boyfriend he's supposed to be, Carl. They actually save Emma. She barely gets saved in time because Marcilla, or whatever they call her, she's been biting her in the neck now for days, but somehow they save her just in time, and I don't know what else to say about it. The spoilers. Oh well, Peter Cushing. This is what's really weird is after Laura dies, Peter Cushing runs off to see Baron Hartog, guy from the beginning, who killed the vampire because he was getting revenge for his daughter. So he's off, and he's friends with this family, with Emma, and he could have told them about Marcilla. And Carl, since he's been with both families, he knows there's this other girl that's been hanging around, and that's why I say he kind of helps because he's like, what's the deal with this girl? And sorry. So everybody gets the girl gets saved in time, and Marcilla, I think she gets the stake. I think she gets staked in the end. Don't you think? I don't know. Marco is talking to me and whispering, and I don't know what he's saying. But
She gets
it. She gets it in the
she
end.
gets it,
Karma comes to visit Marcilla
and
because they took her shroud, and she went looking for it,
of
and
course,
then they got her.
didn't she teleport?
I guess, I don't
I
know.
think she teleported. That was cool.
Yeah, I guess she did. That was another thing. I think another thing that was different about this movie, and I just mentioned it a couple times, was the shroud business. I've never, ever, ever heard anything about a shroud having anything to do with the vampire.
And that's the weird part, because then you have Dracula. Never have that in any of his movies.
Mm-mm.
And I think it was a little it's a little irresponsible to the lore of the franchise. I mean, I don't know if it's supposed to be the same world or what they're trying to do. I guess they're just trying to adapt the story, which it was the first vampire story ever written even before Dracula.
Well, another thing about the movie is that Marcilla is not, her parents must be vampires too. They talked about in the beginning that Baron Hartog talked about the Karnstein family as if the whole families were vampires. And the dad looks like one. The one who doesn't talk is all black. He's got totally pale complexion. But he and his wife, the Countess, you never see them. They're not attacking anybody. It's only Marcilla.
Well, they might be.
But
they might be attacking other people.
But
why wouldn't they? They have to survive. They're vampires. They have to eat people.
But in the village, the butler, after Marcilla is with the second family for a while, the butler goes in the village and he's having a drink, and he makes a joke about vampires, and all the room got quiet. And they said there'd only been 3 deaths from vampires, and that would be Baron Hartog's daughter, the guy outside the pub, and Laura. So I don't know where the mother and the count and the countess go. And
I don't know what they do.
I don't know what they
Well,
do to
that's
stay
supposed.
alive.
It's a mystery. Maybe they go to other towns so that they don't cramp their daughter's style.
I don't know. That's really weird. So
Well,
that's another thing.
It's never explained.
Never explained.
We're never even gonna know, because I don't really count the sequels as sequels, because
Quite a digital.
Well, truthfully, I've never seen any sequel to this movie. This is the very first time I've ever seen the movie, and then I actually watched it again to refresh my memory, because everything we're doing now we were supposed to do last month, and like I said, I got very sick and wasn't really able to do much of anything, so for 2 weeks. So we did do a little, but as you can see, I'm still coughing, but whatever. I have not seen, Marco has apparently, but I have not seen any sequels.
I haven't seen the sequels.
I just wish when
But
people
I
make
don't
these,
want to.
well, I wish when people make a movie that they get more into the story. And I don't know if there's somehow some way to do it that would make people like the movie. I mean, I think people like to hear a good story. So, whatever.
I think they told a story.
Well, they did tell a story that was about the victims and how she preyed on them, and the butler comes back and he brings garlic flowers, and he gets a cross for her, and he gets the maid to help him, and they try to stop him, and he says, hey, I'm the boss here while the father's gone, because of course the father had to go somewhere, and he's not there to help, and finally Marcella has to stop the butler, unfortunately, but Emma still gets saved, so okay, I think we're done.
Well, I just wish that when you make sequels, you keep the same actors from the previous movie.
Oh my God, if you make 2 sequels and you have 3 different actors, people like consistency. I don't get that. But it could be, I don't know what the sequels were like, but this guy, like I said, he had absolutely no lines.
He had a laugh.
Well, he did whisper into the Countess's ear. I would love to know what he said, for real. So, but he didn't have any out loud lines that people could hear. So, it could be that actors didn't care for that, and they didn't want to play the part, or they just want this guy who was in the first one. He didn't want to do that again. And
I don't care. He signed up for the first one.
I don't know. We don't know. Unless there's something written about it somewhere.
Maybe it's because the second one and the third one sucked.
Yeah, it could be.
The scripts. I mean, it seems like all they focused on was, for the sequels, was getting girls to show their boobs.
Well, was Ingrid Pitt in the second movie?
No, she got killed.
Oh, that's right. She got killed. So what was it? Another Karnstein, or?
It's all, the second one's called Lust for a Vampire. It's about one of the Karnstein girls. It's played by this horrible actress who turned into a born-again Christian and is on some right-wing radio station, and she's the star, and she goes to this all-girls school, and it's all about her being a lesbian, of course, and she shows her boobs a lot, and of course she hates that now, that she ever did that. And then the third one is called Twins of Evil, and it's about these 2 twins, I guess, from the Karnstein family, and maybe they're lesbians, I don't know. But it doesn't really connect to the first one for me. I would have liked to have had Peter Cushing back, at least to start off, and then you could just easily kill him. That would have been cool to see Peter Cushing actually get killed.
Oh, I don't
'Cause-
agree with that.
The only other time we've seen that is Dracula AD 1972, and that's not really him, it's his relative, so that looks like him, exactly like him, but it's not really him, so
Okay, well,
consistency.
yeah. I think we're done.
Yeah, we're done.
So, we're not going to do it quite yet, but later on we'll be back to review the original Fright Night.
I'm gonna go eat some pancakes now.
Oh, you're not.
Yeah, I am.
I'm going to go do chores
I
now.
wanna go eat pancakes.
Okay, see you later.
I wanna go eat pancakes.